Happy morning, children. In this video, we are going to see the prose part of Unit 1. What is the title of the prose in the sense? The Portrait of a Lady, which is written by Khushwant Singh. Okay, what is the title of the lesson? The Portrait of a Lady, which is written by Khushwant Singh. See, portrait. Okay, let me justify the title first. The Portrait of a Lady. Portrait is nothing but picture. Okay, so the picture of a lady. You may have the question in your mind, lady in the sense whom this particular writer is referring of. It is all about the author's grandmother. Okay, author here Khushwant Singh. So Khushwant Singh's grandmother he is referred of in the title. Okay, the picture of a grandmother. And then the lesson is aptly titled by Khushwant Singh, The Portrait of a Lady, because the author intended it to be a character sketch of his grandmother, and also the grandmother of the author has numerous lady-like qualities, so that even the title has been termed as The Portrait of a Lady. And then one more thing I want to say, this particular lesson is all about autobiography, part of an autobiography of Khushwant Singh which he has given off, and in this lesson he has beautifully picturized the relationship between the grandmother as well as the grandson. Here grandson in the sense author Khushwant Singh. So he has beautifully developed or else picturized the relationship between the grandmother as well as the author. And then the story, we may say in another way also, this story is a loving tribute which he has given off towards his grandmother. Okay, as a grandson he has given a kind of loving tribute towards his grandmother through this work in the sense the portrait of a lady. So this overall lesson is all about the beautiful relationship between the grandmother as well as the author here Khushwant Singh. Have you understood, children? Okay, the title and how about the lesson? The overall lesson is all about. Okay, okay. Then let us move on with the lesson. Okay, how he started the lesson in the sense, see, he has given a kind of clear picturization about the appearance of his grandmother. Okay, this is what he is saying of. My grandmother was short lady. Okay, so author's grandmother was a short lady and he was slightly bent too. Okay, that was her age actually. Because of her age she was bent, and because of that she couldn't walk straight, and she'll be always holding one hand in her waist for the support actually. And one more thing in the sense, she'll be always holding the rosary in her hand. Rosary is nothing but string of beads actually, especially in Christianity, Roman Catholic people they'll use for counting prayers. So she'll be always holding the beads actually, and she'll be reciting prayers. And when we see her, her lips will be constantly moving off with inaudible prayer. What she is praying of, that will not be audible, but always her lips will be moving off with inaudible prayers. And then she was looking like a piece of embodiment, personification of peace actually when we look at her. Such a beautiful lady in the sense, it is not because of her appearance, see, it is because of only her qualities, the way she behaves. She looks really beautiful. Understood? This is what he has picturized about her, about his actually grandmother. And then slowly he has started to say about his grandfather also. He has not seen his grandfather straightly actually. He has seen only in the portrait. The portrait is nothing, already I have said, picture. Okay, which was hung above the hung on the wall of the drawing room. Okay, above the mantelpiece. And he has seen only in the picture. And how that grandfather's appearance was in the picture, in the sense he wore a big turban in the sense, Singh community people, they'll always wear it off on the top of the head. Okay, you would have even seen actually before. So he wore a big turban, and then he was wearing a loose fitting clothes. And when he was looking at him in the picture, he was seen like 100 years old man. Okay, he was looking very old. We couldn't even imagine that he was having a wife as well as children when he was being in youth. So such a way, because very old appearance, he could see in the portrait. He, in the sense here, the grandson, which means the author. He could see the grandfather in the portrait. Portrait in the sense picture. And then after that, they have started to say about the education. Okay, how he has started his education in the village school. See, the parents know, they have brought him, and they have left over under the taking care of grandmother, and she was the one who was taking care of Khushwant Singh. Okay, right from the beginning. Okay, when he was in the school days, actually, he was happened to study in the village school, and the grandmother, actually, here also he has beautifully picturized the relationship between the grandmother as well as him, which means Khushwant Singh. See, when he was young, okay, he was happened to study in the village school. He was being along with the grandmother, and she was taking care of in a nice way. Usually she'll go along with the grandmother to the village school, and there is a temple which is attached nearby the village school, actually, and he'll be there in the school in order to study and read the alphabet, all those things, whatever they are teaching of in the school, and she'll be there in the next side, which means the temple, and she'll be involving herself in a religious way by reading the scriptures in the adjoining temple. Have you understood, children? And then usually, okay, when they are moving to school, she'll be she'll be bringing the stale chapatis. They'll go by walk only, actually, and when they were going off, she'll bring some stale chapatis. Stale chapatis in the sense, the chapatis which are not at all fresh, actually. Okay, so that stale chapatis, she'll bring it off along with her, and when they are returning back, actually, on their way back, they will feed the stale chapatis, actually, towards the street dogs. That was their regular habit they have cultivated each and every day. So they have spent a very happy time in that particular, which means the activity when they were doing off, they were very happy. And then see, this is what they have spent their young days, actually. The author spent his school life. And then after that, there was a turning point which had been taken, which had been entered in their life. The relationship of the grandmother as well as the author, actually, somehow changed. Okay, why it has been changed? In the sense, they have moved to the city. Okay, from village they have moved to the city, and they were staying along with the parents of Khushwant Singh. The author went to an English school, actually, in a motor bus. Previously they were in the village school. Okay, he was there in the village school. Usually he'll go along with the grandmother, but now it has been changed. He used to go to school in a motor bus, and then he couldn't go along with the grandmother. She also couldn't accompany with grandson. And here the relationship of the grandmother as well as the grandson has been slowly changing off. Okay, each and every day it is undergoing some changes. And then now there were no street dogs to feed, actually, the chapatis and all, stale chapatis. So what she was doing, in the sense, she was spending the time in order to feed the sparrows. Okay, it was a city life, actually, really boring off. So in that meanwhile, she'll spend some time with the sparrows. She'll feed the sparrows, actually. Understood, children? And then what happened in the sense, only in the afternoon time actually she'll take the relaxation, she'll do all sort of household works, she'll take care of a grandson also, she'll do some works actually, and then remaining time actually, what she'll do in the afternoon, she'll spend for half an hour in order to feed the sparrows. What she'll feed in the sense, she'll take the breads actually, she'll make it into pieces and she'll feed it off towards the sparrows. And that was the happiest time of the grandmother, because there was no such entertainment in order to enjoy, okay, in order to spend actually. So she spent along with the sparrows, that half an hour she found really happy along with the sparrows. And some sparrows, no, they perched, they sat on the shoulders of the grandmother. Some they'll be perched on the head also, but she never bothered. She found a kind of happiness in that particular time in the afternoon, half an hour. Understood? And then now here the common link of friendship gets snapped here in this particular time. Okay, the snapped is nothing but cut, actually broken. Okay, the relationship between the grandmother as well as the grandson has been broken. Why? In the sense, now this is the time he has grown up actually, the author is Khushwant Singh, has grown up and he decided to move to abroad for further studies, for his higher studies. For 5 years actually he wanted to spend over there in abroad, and he felt very bad actually in order to leave his grandmother to spend over 5 years in the abroad actually. Okay, but he didn't he felt really bad of their what is that, break actually, the breaking of relationship on the 5 years. But he felt really bad. He thought that when he is retiring off from that place, relieving off from that place, she'll behave in a sentimental way. But she came to the railway station in order to send him off, and then after that he wanted to move to abroad. Till railway station she has accompanied along with the author, which means Khushwant Singh. But when he was relieving off from the place, she didn't show any kind of emotions. She behaved as a very matured way. She didn't make him to feel by showing off her emotions in front of him. What she has done in the sense, even that time he could see she was doing inaudible prayers. Her lips were constantly moving off, and silently she kissed over his forehead, which means she showed her love and affection towards his grandson by kissing off his forehead. But she did not, apart from that, she did not behave anything in an emotional way, which means crying off or else making him to feel by using words. All those things she never done it off in front of him. Okay, and then there was no physical contact between them. Okay, understood? Because he is going off to abroad actually, so they cannot contact with each other, and then 5 years their relationship has been broken. And then after that, after 5 years he spent over there, he completed everything over there, and he is returning off. The same way he found his grandmother in the railway station. Nothing has been changed actually. She was being there how she was 5 years before. The same way actually she was being there in the railway station in order to welcome him. Okay, welcome. He wanted to actually, in this particular paragraph, the grandmother celebrates the author's return. Okay, and then she went to the station and she brought him, and then he couldn't see any kind of changes. She was being like that as such how he has seen 5 years before. And even that day, the happiest moment she found, okay, in which way I told no already, she found in order to feed the sparrows, she found the happiness half an hour time. The same way she has done it off even after the arrival of the grandson also. And then everything was going well. and one point of time a strange thing happened. Strange in the sense something happened in a new way. Okay, they cannot, in an unknown, they didn't know actually. So far something has happened in an unknown strange way actually. Okay, in that particular evening. Okay, and what happened after that in the sense, see, usually I told, no, she'll be always holding rosary in her hand, and then she'll be reciting prayers, her lips will be constantly moving off. But that time, particular day, strange thing I told, no ma, so that only here happened. What she has done in the sense, she did not pray actually, she failed to pray actually. And what she has done, her activities also entirely changed. Previously she was engaging herself in the household works, she'll take care of all sort of things, and she'll pray, and she never be in one place actually. But now that was the time she was entirely changed, and she went to the neighborhood, and she has collected a old dilapidated drum. Dilapidated in the sense damaged drum actually. Okay, drum is nothing but an instrument. Okay, she collected off from the neighborhood, and with the help of the drum she started to sing, okay, of the homecoming of various. Okay, that was the song actually, she was started to sing. And they were trying to, because she didn't stop actually, so they were trying to stop her in order to avoid the overstraining in the sense, when she was playing, no, the drum, with the help of the drum she is singing as well as playing. Okay, she is beating of the drum, so she is giving a kind of strain, so they were stopping off in order to do that action. So all those things are strange activities she is doing off. And but she did not bother what the others are saying. And after that, slowly what happened, she has stopped over this particular action. But everything became strange. So far she never behaved in such a way, but on that particular day she behaved so. And after that, what happened in the sense, the next day the grandmother actually, she felt really sick. Okay, she felt sick actually, she became ill actually. And then the doctor, they brought the doctor in order to see her, and the doctor diagnosed actually, and he said that it is a mild fever, nothing to worry about. And but she always insisted on the particular day that as end is near. Okay, the end is near, end is in the sense death. Okay, some kind of changes happened over me, so I'm going to die off. She always insisted. She told everyone that she did not want to talk, she did not want to talk to anyone further, and she would rather spend her last moment in praying. And then she ignored everyone's protest, and she started to take off her beads of rosary. I told Noma the string of beads, and she started to recite prayers. And then see here, and she started to counting the beads in her rosary while praying off. And a few minutes after, okay, after a short while, the author was being near to the grandmother, and he could notice her lips and all not at all moving off. Okay, it has stopped its movement. Okay, so grandmother's lips stopped moving, and what she was holding off and praying, Noma, that rosary has fell off from her hand. Okay, so from her lifeless fingers, in textbook they have given lifeless finger because there was no soul. I'm sorry ma, there is nothing in her, which means she died, she passed away. So that lifeless finger, that is why lifeless, there is no life in her fingers. Usually when we are alive in the sense, usually will be, our fingers and all will be moving, will have some movement, but that particular time there is no such movement in her fingers, and the rosary fell from her lifeless fingers, and she died actually. They declared that she died, she passed away from the world. And author actually, he felt really, okay, as if he realized that he has reached the death, because she spent each and everything, she has given her contribution, the life of grandson, which means Khushwant Singh, the author, and she has given everything towards. She used to narrate stories. She used to accompany with him to school. She used to do all sort of menial works towards him. She'll cook and give. So everything she has done it for his for her grandson, which means Khushwant Singh. Here now everything is going to end up. Already it is ended off. She died actually. So he felt really upset, heartbroken, and she died a peaceful death actually. Very peacefully she was lying on the bed and she stopped her activities. Everything has been stopped over, and what they have done in the sense, after that they started to do all sort of which means their formalities they have started to do. Okay, and their body, her body was covered with a red shawl. And now this is the time, the last grandmother's death we have seen in that previous paragraph. Now here in this particular paragraph, the sparrows, okay, the sparrows mourn for her death. Mourning is nothing but feeling a kind of feeling showing their sadness towards the death. More feeling for somebody's death only, we call it as mourning. Understood? So here the sparrows mourning for the death in the sense the grandmother's death here in this particular paragraph in the end of the lesson. And when the author and the others actually they have taken away the grandmother's body, and they have seen as a kind of strange happening which was happening over there, and to mourn her death, what happened in the sense to feel for grandmother's death, lot of sparrows actually had surrounded the grandmother's body and they were very silent. And what had happened in the sense, they were very silent, and after that the author's mother offered the sparrows some bread. I'm sorry, ma. The grandmother's body, the sparrows and all surrounded with, they were very silent actually. And by seeing that, the author's mother actually, she felt really upset. So how the grandmother, she has done the same way the author's mother actually, she has started to do. But what happened in the sense, the sparrows, okay, the sparrows were being there, surrounded the grandmother's body. They didn't take the breadcrumbs. They refused to eat the breadcrumbs, and they were quietly flew away after the grandmother's body. Okay, they have taken away, they have carried the body of the grandmother for the further formalities for the burial. And that time all the sparrows, hundreds of sparrows, okay, quietly flew away, which means flying off after the body of the grandmother. Okay, they have given a kind of they have shown their love towards the grandmother, because so many days she has given. Okay, so many days, we cannot say, they didn't give any kind of count actually, but many days she was feeding the sparrows. Half an hour she has taken in order to spend along with the sparrows. But now, okay, after her death, even the sparrows were not ready to take the breadcrumbs which was given by grandmother's, Khushwant Singh's mother. But when they were caring of the body of the grandmother, the sparrows also, they were coming off after the body of the grandmother. Okay, such a touching moment it was actually at the end of the lesson, we could see. Okay, so all those things, everything in an emotional way actually, okay, he has clearly mentioned the relationship. This is what myself in the sense Khushwant Singh, the author, myself and my grandmother, we spent. So that is why already I have given in the very beginning, he beautifully unfolds the relationship of the grandmother as well as him. So this is what the overall lesson is. So I hope that you people would have understood, children. Okay, for further understanding, so read the textbook, you will get the clear clarity. Okay, so read the glossary part also for better understanding. Okay, thank you children.